You are great at writing task 2, but when it comes to task 1 academic, then you struggle a lot. Well, in order to get above a band 6, you need to know how to write writing task 1 academic, because task 2 covers 6 bands and task 1 covers 3 bands. That's why in this video, I'm going to tell you very important and useful tips that will help you achieve a 3 out of 3 in academic task 1. Yes, this is a misconception that you need to write everything that you see in order to get a band 9 in task response. But if you look at the band descriptors and the question itself, you should only identify the main features. So you don't need to write everything that you see. In fact, if you write, then you won't be getting a high score in task response. Only cover the main features, like if there are sharp increases or sharp decreases. These are the main features. But if something is constantly increasing, then you need not to describe every single increase. Just say that it sharply increased. However, there is an exception, and that is in case of maps and process description. Here you need to describe every single thing in the maps, like what was converted into what. And in terms of process description, you need to describe every single stage. Here, if you skip anything, then you won't be getting a band 9 task response. So for line graph, bar graph, pie charts, tables, you don't need to describe everything. And for maps and process description, you need to describe everything. If you look at the question, it is written, then you should make comparisons where relevant. By this I mean that you need to group those things that are similar in the same category and those things that are different in the same category. For example, if anything is increasing and another thing is also increasing with it, then you group both of them in the same category and make a like comparison. Similarly, if two things are different, like if one is increasing and other is decreasing, then there is a contrast relationship. This is also a sort of comparison, and here you need to make it. You don't need to plan anything because you don't have much time. First you attempt the task 2 and then you should attempt the task 1. Here spend 17 minutes on writing and the remaining 3 minutes should be spent to recheck it. Rechecking is very important because no matter how well you think you've written, you must have made some mistakes due to lack of time and the pressure. So if you don't recheck, those small grammatical and vocabulary mistakes will add up and result in a half band score reduction. So make sure to spend the last 3 minutes to recheck your task 1. Then you write the introduction. Now the introduction is simply the paraphrase statement of the question statement. Nothing else, only paraphrased statement. After this, you need to write the overview. The overview, I would advise you to write after the introduction. Because if you miss anything, like for example, you're writing overview at the last, and due to lack of time, you miss the overview. This will result in a half band score decrease. But if you write overview just after the introduction, and you miss some lines from the last body paragraph, that might not result in a half band score reduction. So write overview after the introduction. And it includes the major points, the main points. Like here, we'll be doing line graph. And in line graph, simply those things that increased and decreased are the major points. In the body paragraphs, especially in the line graph, you simply write what is increasing and decreasing. So it's your choice, whatever is increasing, you can write in the first body paragraph or in the second body paragraph. Remember, body paragraphs are the most important part and you will be getting your band score for the body paragraphs. I mean, these are the major things, the body paragraphs. Here, you should be using some uncommon words and don't repeat the same words again and again. For example, instead of increase, write rise. Increase dramatically, rise rose sharply, soared. Instead of decrease, write decline, reduce. These are the paraphrase words that the examiner wants to see. And if you just keep on paraphrasing, then your vocabulary score will be above a band 7. Okay, so this is the sample answer that we're going to be doing. The line graph shows theft per thousand vehicles in 4 countries between 1990 and 1999. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Okay, so now this is the line graph. These are years, these are theft per thousand vehicles. Great Britain, this is Sweden, this is France, and this is Canada. Intro is simply the paraphrase statement. So here instead of the line graph, in 4 countries between 1990 and 1999. In 4 countries remains the same from 1990 to 1999, or you can say over the period of 9 years. I told you that the overview simply means the things that increased and decreased. Here you can see that the car thefts in Sweden increased over the year, but the car theft in the remaining 3 countries decreased over the years. So we'll be writing overall it can be seen that the car thefts in Sweden increased, while the number of cars stolen in the remaining 3 countries decreased during the time period. In the first body paragraph, you can see that Sweden, France and Canada, they have quite comparable rates between 5 and 10 up to 1995, and then there is a difference. France and Canada decreased, but Sweden increased. I'll be writing Great Britain in the next body paragraph because it's the most unique and it will stand out. And I told you that what is similar, you should group them together. So here if you look at France, Sweden and Canada, their trends are quite similar up to 1995. So I'm going to group all of them. After that, you can see France and Canada trends are also quite similar, but Sweden's trend is opposite. So I'm going to be describing this comparison contrast as mentioned in the question statement. Similarly, I won't be writing every single thing, only the major points, the main features. Initially, car theft rates in Sweden, France, and Canada showed a comparable pattern, staying within the range of 5 to 10 per thousand in the first 5 years. However, this is for a contrast. While both France and Canada witnessed a decrease to around 6 in 1999, Sweden saw an increase. So here you can see they both decreased to 6, but Sweden saw an increase. And instead of saying it increased, then it remained constant, I'll simply jump to the last figure here, starting around 8 and reaching just below 15 by the end of the time period. Here look at Great Britain. Instead of saying it increased, decreased, increased, decreased, I'll simply say it fluctuated. And it reached its peak at 20 thefts per thousand in 1996. And then it started declining around 17 per thousand in 1999 by the end of the period. Notably, car thefts in Great Britain initiated at 18 per thousand. Here 18 per thousand, surpassing the rates in other nations. It means it was greater than the other rates in other nations. Subsequently means afterwards, and in coherence and cohesion, this is important. You need to describe like then, afterwards, subsequently, followed that in order to describe the next trend. So subsequently, it fluctuated over the next 9 years, peaking at 20 thefts per thousand in 1996, and then the trend reduced slightly below the starting point. Now the starting point here is 18, and it reduced to 17, so it's below the starting point in 1999. So here is the sample answer, everything is fulfilled. The word count for this task is 171 words, which is above 150 words. Now the ideal word count will be between 150 and 180. Don't go above this because you don't have that much time. So now you know a lot about task 1. and there are 7 types of tasks. So if you're looking for the rest tasks, I made videos on them. Here they will be appearing and you can watch them. Take care. Allah Hafiz.